Welcome everybody to the 7th episode of my CreaLienDesign podcast. My name is Eline and this is a video podcast from the Netherlands about knitting and spinning and sometimes some other crafts, but mainly knitting and spinning. And this is my 7th episode already. I want to thank you all for watching today, new viewers, old viewers. Thank you and welcome. And thank you for everybody who started following me since my last video. That video took an hour, which was really long, and I don't intend to make this video another hour. This is gonna be, I think, around 30 minutes, maximum 30 minutes. Well, but I cannot promise anything, but it won't be an hour for sure. It was an hour because the video before was, there was a year between the videos, so I had a lot to show you in a year, of course, and I didn't show you everything. But, and now it's only been 2 weeks and a few days, so don't worry, it won't be an hour. First of all, what I want to say is, last video I got a few questions from people, questions about what was the name of the pattern I used, what was the name of the yarn I used. Well, I'm gonna write them down this time in the description box below, because I did tell everything, I think, or almost everything in the video, but yeah, as I said, I am Dutch. And I have a Dutch accent. I know I have a Dutch accent. And I don't pronounce everything the way I should. And so with pattern names and yarn names, it can go wrong. And I totally understand that you don't bring a notebook to watch my episode to write down what I'm saying. And I do understand that you're not going to watch the full episode back just to see and listen to how I called, what was the pattern name or the yarn name, and then not understanding what I'm saying. So I'm gonna write it all down, and I'm also gonna write down where you can find me on the internet, CreaLienDesign on Etsy, Instagram, and Ravelry. So yeah, as you can see, my hair is wet because I literally just got out of the shower, so sorry about that. I think it will be dry at the end of the show, like it's a show at the end of this video. And if you wonder what I'm wearing, this was my 2017 project. You've seen it in my first 2 episodes from my video podcast. This was a combospin. I dyed almost all the fiber. I dyed 7 of the 800 grams, and in all the colors and all the fiber types. And then I spun it all, and then I knitted it, and now I have this sweater. Shall I show you? Yeah, I can show you. Yeah, so this is the sweater, and I love it. And oh, let's put this down. And I wear it a lot in the winter, like a lot. So yeah. And there was still leftover yarn, so I also made the garter stitch ear flap hat out of it and a pair of socks, which I probably will show you at some point, but I don't know when. So before this is gonna be another hour full of talking about nothing, let's get to my knitting project. Yes, what I finished something actually. I actually finished something. A project that I didn't show you in my last video. After the last video, I still felt like casting on all the projects. I don't know if you've seen that video, but I casted on all the projects, almost all the projects, and I still felt like casting on more projects. And I didn't allow myself to cast on another pair of socks because I wanted to knit socks. But I have so many single socks and I have so many sock whips that I just wasn't allowed to start another sock whip. So I took out an old whip that I had laid apart, that I'd laid down because I didn't like the colors, and I still don't like the colors, but I thought it was time to finish it. So I finished the sock, And because I suffer from severe second sock syndrome, I wasn't gonna let that syndrome take over my life again. So I was being a really good girl and cast on the second sock right away. And I also finished that one. So this is the first sock. Well, this is the pair of socks. Look. And oh, holy moly, that's my doorbell. Hold on a second. Sorry. That was my doorbell, and as you could hear, that's very loud. And it always scares the hell out of me. Like, seriously getting a heart attack. But it was the mailman for a package for my upstairs neighbor. So I did turn my phone off this time, so I wouldn't get any calls. But I cannot turn off my doorbell, and I cannot turn off or lower the sound. It was, oh, it always gives me a heart attack if someone rings the bell. Can you imagine if the bell rings when you're asleep? Then I'm just, well. Anyway, I was showing you these socks. They are finished. I was around, I always knit my socks toe up. And it was a whip from here. So I finished all the way to here. That was done. And I didn't like the colors. But I picked it up. It was started in November 2015. So 3 years ago. It was time they get finished. So I finished this. And I wasn't gonna let second sock syndrome take over my life again. So I cast on the second sock right away. And finished it last night actually. And I hated it. I hated knitting them. I hated the colors. And I hated them until I was around this far. I really hated them. These are not my colors. And I was thinking, why am I knitting this? Shall I frog it and use the individual yarns for something else? Or shall I finish them and then gift them to someone? But I want my gifts to be nice. I don't want to gift something that I don't like. So that was not an option. So I thought, well, maybe I should sell them. But then the same thing. I want to sell something that I really like. But then I was so far, I just decided to finish them. So I did last night. And I didn't like them last night. But when I saw them this morning, I actually kind of liked them. Especially this sock. Look. What I don't like is this transition here. I knit them in Schoppelwolle Zauberball. And this is not what I'm used to seeing from Schoppelwolle Zauberball. They always have these really smooth color transitions. And I've worked it, sorry, the sun is suddenly shining really bright and the light is blowing out everything. Hold on a sec. That's better. When I started this video, it was actually raining. Okay, this color transition, this is something I'm not used to from Schoppelwolle Zauberball. They always have really smooth color transitions. Oh, and there's some cut hair, of course. Yeah, the yarns I used. Schoppelwolle, leftover that I had left from another project. This is Fuchsienbeet. The colorway Fuchsienbeet. I'll write it down. And this is the colorway blaue Augen. It's Zauberball. Is it backwards for you guys? In the colorway Fuchsienbeet. And the content is 420 meter per 100 gram. And I think it's 75%, yeah, superwash virgin wool and 25% nylon. So, yeah. And I didn't use a pattern. I have my own recipe for sock knitting, which is just using 3mm needles, starting at the point, casting on 24 stitches with Judy's Magic Cast On, I'll name it. And then I increase every second row until I get 56 stitches, and then I knit towards the heel. I need to knit a short row heel over half the stitches, and then I'll knit it up again, and I do a 2x2 or 1x1 ribbing for about 15 rows. And I bind off with Jenny's very elastic, very stretchy, magical stretchy, I don't know, super stretchy bind off, which is, well, very stretchy. Oh, and this is my beautiful sock blocker, improvised. I actually ordered some real ones from Wood, but let me show you my gorgeous sock blocker. It's just made from cardboard from a box of cat litter. Yeah. Hello, kitty. Well, yeah. You gotta work with what you have, right? And being creative, you can make anything out of anything. But there are some real ones on their way to me, so I'll show you when they get here. So, yeah. Schoppelwolle, Zauberball, Flexie and Bait. Knit on 3mm needles, my own sock recipe. Then, I have another finished project, and it's also a started project. It's something I made last night. It's not knitted, but it's very knitting related. I made this. Oh, it's still too much light. I made this very big project bag. And because of the light, you can't really see the colors very well. If you are an Ikea fan, you might recognize this fabric, because this is from an old couch of mine, and it was the cover of the couch. And when I threw out the couch, I kept the fabric from the cover. So it's furniture fabric, so it's really sturdy. I used for this bag, oh, and there's this little handmade wooden logo that I got as a gift with one of my purchases from Woolwisp, Natalie from Woolwisp. You can find her on Etsy and Instagram. So, and I made this bag. Oh, the light. Sorry, I can't help it. That's just nature. It's the sun. I'm gonna close some more curtains. I'm sorry. So, here I am again. Yeah, this bag. Let's open it. I used the tutorial. I'll put a link to the tutorial in the description box. As I always do, I did quite adjust the pattern or tutorial to my own needs. I wanted a big project bag, so I completely changed all the sizes and because it was for a small project bag. So I completely changed all the sizes that were used in the pattern. Or it's a tutorial, it's just pictures, no text at all. So it's quite big. It's reversible. I can put the inside out. The inside, by the way, is an old bedding of mine when I was a child, when I lived with my parents. I had this as a bedding, a duvet cover. Cute, right? So I used it for on the inside of the bag. So I'm gonna turn it over and I'm gonna show you what is in the bag. First you see something shiny. That is my very ugly, but at the same time it's so ugly that it's super cool and super nice. This is where I hold my pattern in. It's a HV. I can't show you the stitches because you can make it, of course, but look how cool. So shiny. Ooh, it's really blinding, but I love it. This is a project. My boyfriend requested a sweater, and he wanted a sweater in wool white, cream, wool white, yellowish white. Well, you know what I mean. A kind of a natural color. And yeah, he wanted that. and he wanted it to have a pattern, cable. Yeah, he preferred cables, but he wanted a pattern from the neck to his chest and the first bit of his arms, and he wanted it quite fitted, and he wants a big caul. Yeah, and it had to be warm and thick so he could wear it outside or on cold winter days. If someone I love is asking me to make them something, then I cannot resist. Especially, I felt like casting on a new sweater. So yeah, I did custom a new sweater, but it's not for me, so that doesn't really count, right? So let me take it out. I didn't use a sweater pattern, but I'm gonna tell you more about it. This is how far I've gotten so far. I think you can see the stitch pattern I'm using. It's too light outside. Why did the sun shine? Why does the sun shine? It was raining before. That was better for the light. Maybe in the back. No, not really. Anyway, I am knitting a top-down basic Raglan sweater without a pattern. Just a basic top-down Raglan sweater in his size. But he wanted cables, and I have knitted the beeswax hat before, which I've shown you before also, with this super cool beehive kind of pattern, honey grade pattern, which I really love. When this hat was finished, I knew I wanted to use the pattern for the stitch pattern for something else, because it's quite simple. It really isn't as difficult as it looks. It looks really difficult, but it's not. And so when he requested the top-down Raglan, well, he didn't request the top-down Raglan. When he requested his sweater, he doesn't know all that knitting stuff. I thought, well, yeah, I could use that, and the knit it in the round around his arms and chest. That would be so nice. So yeah, I'm using that stitch pattern, and you cannot really see it because of the light. Can I, if I, yeah, you can see it a bit. Anyway, oh, and this stitch marker is one that I got from Deb Sturder at Crafty Cat Knitty Bits. You can find her on Instagram and Etsy. With an order from fiber, spinning fiber, that I ordered from her. Cute. That's my progress keeper stitch marker I use to for the beginning of the round. And the yarns I am using is a fluffy yarn. It's from, hair, Drops, and it's Drops brushed alpaca silk, which is a blend of 77% alpaca and 23% silk. I'm using it as a second yarn, like other people usually use mohair. I'm using brushed alpaca silk. This is the label. I hope you can read it. And these are the details. It's the undyed natural color, and it's too soft. And the other yarn is from, again, from a local store that I also talked about in the previous video. It's from Belgium and the Netherlands. I don't know if it's anywhere else. The store is called Zeeman, and the yarn is Julia. It's too wide. It's not this wide. So, little less light, and then you can see it. So it's Julia, and it's 100 grams for 170 meters. It's 80% acrylic and 20% wool, which makes it very wearable and hard wearing. So I'm combining these two for a very soft and warm and fluffy sweater, and I'm keeping it in this project bag that I made yesterday. So yeah, really nice. So, and this one in here. So this bag is my other finished product, and in there is my whip. So that's that. Then I wanted to knit 2 at a time. Oh, maybe you can see it in my swatch. Yeah, you can see the pattern. I did stretch it. I did block it out a bit too much, so it's overblocked, but you can see the stitch pattern here. Yeah, you can see it. So, okay, I wanted to knit 2 at a time socks because of my severe second sock syndrome. And with severe, I mean I have seriously, like, I don't know, 15 to 20 single socks. And they are all pretty enough to make a second sock. But I just don't have the motivation to knit second socks. So I want to do something about it and decided I wanted to knit, to give second 2 at a time socks a second try. Because I tried it years ago and didn't like it at all back then. And I was a bit worried about it now because I thought that maybe I couldn't knit in front of the telly because I had to watch too much what's the front and what's the back. So I decided to cast on my normal double pins. No, I did not cast on my normal double pins, but I did cast on just 1 at a time using magic loop to get used to magic loop at first, and then just knit the sock 2 at a time. So this is how far I've gotten. It's so sad that you cannot see the prettiness of this yarn. It's so pretty. I want to show you how pretty it is. You can see how pretty it is in my Instagram. I posted a picture of it on Instagram. You can see it. It's really pretty. Pretty. No, you cannot really see it. The yarn I'm using is it's also local. It's from the Action. So if you're Dutch, you know the Action. It's a sport weight yarn. It's not fingering weight. It's sport weight, and I cast on less stitches than I normally would. It is 98% acrylic and 2% polyester, and the 2% polyester is the sparkling yarn because there's a sparkle in there. Oh, you can see it a little bit better here. It's such a pretty yarn, and I don't mind that it's acrylic. Acrylic is really hard wearing. You can wash it in the washing machine, and it's really warm. My experience with acrylic is that it's really warm. I don't think it's a good idea to wear this if you easily sweat. If you sweat easily, then you're definitely gonna sweat in acrylic yarn because it doesn't ventilate or does the same thing as wool does. But it is really warm and I like it. I don't sweat easily, so I like really warm socks like this. And I wear them around the house all the time. So yeah, this stitch marker is one of my own. The needles I'm using is KnitPro Royale. The nice thing about them is the cord. This is not with the interchangeable, but with the circular needles, you can turn the needle and the cord just stays in place, which is really nice. You don't get those big tangled up cords. And for the cable is also a lot smoother and yeah, it's a lot and thinner than the cables from the interchangeables. I don't know from no, I mean the interchangeables like the black cables, and they're purple cables, and they do have yellow, orange, blue, and green cables now also. But I do mean their normal cables are thicker than this. So yeah, I'm happy with this. This is, by the way, the yarn label. It's called Soft Glitter, and it's from the Action. Yeah, that's it. That were my whips. Wow. Then some of you might know that I am a midwifery student. I hope to graduate the end of January 2019, so which is almost. But I was asked to teach a class. To Purpurium nurses. I don't know if you know a bit about the Dutch midwifery system, but we have Purpurium nurses, and they go to the people's home for the first 8 days after birth, and they can help you at home for 8 hours a day, and they help you with breastfeeding, with they have lots of tips about sleeping with the baby, about belly cramps, pains, but they also do the checkups on the women that gave birth and on the babies, their temperature, and they keep track of everything. But they also assist the midwife during birth. So I was asked to teach at a school for Purpurium nurses, to teach a class about acute midwifery situations. So if I'm doing a home birth or a birth at the hospital, and there's an acute situation, then I have to do lots of stuff to make the best of it. And the nurses, I had to train the nurses in how they can best, what's the best way to assist the midwife or the woman who is birthing. So I got to teach them a class, and which was really nice. It was a lot of fun. It took 2 days, and the students really liked it, and it was really, really nice, really fun, a lot of fun to do. But as a thank you from that school, I got a book gift card. So I had a few books waiting in my queue that I wanted to have. There's still one more, but I ordered 3 of them. I'm not going to do a full book review. You can find, I put the names of the books and the authors down here, and you can find actual book reviews here on YouTube, so you can look them up. But I wanted to show you which books I got. It's the AlterKnit Stitch Dictionary, and it has all these stranded knitting patterns in here. Really fun ones. I like stitch dictionaries, so yeah, it's a really fun one. I definitely want to do more with them and check them out, maybe knit hats or stuff. Yeah, really nice. That was a really fun one. And I'm a bit late to the game with this one, but I finally got my Japanese knitting stitch Bible. It's a beautiful book. I know so many people have already said that, but it is true. It really is true. Oh, they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. Oh, yeah. So this one, added to my own knitting library. I have a pretty big shelf full of knitting books. And then last but not least, the beginner's guide to writing knitting patterns. I have a few crocheting patterns and knitting patterns on my Ravelry and Etsy for sale. They are only $150 per pattern, And so I have written patterns, but now I have designed a shawl. Well, I've knitted it 2 years ago and written all the instructions down, but I never actually got to pattern writing. Well, I have now, but I want to make more of my patterns, and this is a really useful guide. To be honest, I don't really, the patterns I have, they are okay, they are good. You can make what you, the patterns by, you can make the sample knits by following the pattern, but I'm not a big fan anymore of the layout. They are a bit dated, and you can see they are made by a beginner. So I want to update them. It's gonna take a while, but that's okay. It's not something I need to do tomorrow or anything. But yeah, I gotta read this completely. I've started. It's really useful. There are some really good, helpful tips in there. I've only read the first 12 or so pages so far, so I still got a little bit to go. But it's really practical. And if you're into pattern writing, if you want to write your first pattern, or you are already a well-known pattern writer and you just want to know a bit more about it, then I would really recommend this book. So yeah, I see it's already over half an hour, so I'm gonna quit now. Well, this is all that I had to tell you, but it's already in half an hour, and I told you that I wouldn't do longer. So yeah, I'm probably gonna take another episode, gonna make another video before Christmas. Well, I'm gonna make the video before Christmas so I can show you my gift knits. But I'm probably gonna upload it at Christmas Day or after Christmas, because yeah, I don't want to spoil the Christmas gifts if the receivers are watching. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I always like reading your comments and seeing your likes. And so yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you soon. Bye!